All right, welcome to our meeting. I'm going to be sharing my screen here. Maybe.
What?
Where'd it go?
I don't know where it went.
Stupid. All right, it's in key. I gonna do it?
Normally it does it just fine.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
All right. So welcome. We're going to start with prayer. Because that's a part of our club, and faith is an important part of it. So anyway, let's get started with that. Dear Jesus, thank you for this time to meet with some people and talk about the club a little bit. And I pray that you help us to be able to speak clearly, me anyway, and um, give them the insight they need about making a decision if they're doing that. And pray that you be with our season. Help us to have a good one. It's in Jesus' name I pray. Amen. All right. So why do we call ourselves the Warriors?
Introduce yourself.
Oh, I'm sorry. I am Nate Clevenger. I'll talk more about myself later. But I do coach the team. We came up with Warriors when we were trying to decide what to come up with because of the scripture in Ephesians 6:13 and talking about the armor of God, and we talked to the kids about that and being warriors and that kind of stuff. And you can see the scripture on the screen that we have that is our basis for that. All right. Some of our goals we have, one of them is to build character and sportsmanship. And within the kids, we talk in our little devotion time at the start of each practice quite a bit about how we treat people based on the character of Christ and stuff of that sort. Healthy living focus, just being active, that kind of stuff. Fostering love and understanding for the sport of track and field. I had a girl actually at practice at the middle school. She just started this year as a 7th grader who had been a part of the Warriors that said, man, I'm really glad I was a part of that before I did 7th grade track. So I know what it's like. So she was handling that adjustment better than some of the other kids. We obviously want to have fun. This is not something we intend to pull other kids away from their activities of. We simply started this as another option for people. Middle school and high school kids can participate after their seasons are over and not before. And this is the big one that we appreciated when we first started with the Carl Junction team, was the commitment flexibility. If you're a part of a relay, which we haven't really had much or many relays in the past, but if you're not a part of a relay, the flexibility is all yours. You can do whatever your family, you can be as committed as your family wants to be, as little as you want to be. You can just go to practices. You can just attend meets. You can do all of them, just come sometimes. So there's not an expectation on our part after you pay the club fee and stuff. It's truly up to your family what you can get to and how you want to handle that. So that's a really big part of it for us. All right, coaches. I'm the head coach. I went to Erie High School and competed at Pittsburgh State University in track, and then coached high school for 7 years at St. Mary's Colgan before, I'm not sure why that got there, before going to Girard and coaching middle school since 2004. Yeah, that's acting weird. One of the areas we're going to be weak on is coaching, in the coaching area again, is throwing, and not in the turbo jab or javelin area, but in the shot put and discus area. Our throwers coach hasn't been able to do that the last couple of years. He has a girl that's a senior this year at another school at Erie, and so he can't do it. So I'll be doing that as much as I can, unless we find somebody else along the way. Yeah, and my son throws in college, so I've been around it a little bit, so I have an idea how to start kids off with it, at least to some degree. Morgan Samuels is our long jump and triple jump coach and basically the assistant coach on the team. She is a former Girard track athlete. I actually coached her when she was in middle school, and she medaled at state in a couple of events and went on to Ottawa University to play basketball, and was also a track athlete there and won the conference long jump one year. If you don't know Morgan, and you have young girls, you're going to really grow to love her. She's just a fantastic person and is great with the kids and loves the track program and loves track. And so we're really fortunate to have her. She does coach at Osawatomie High School. And so she actually lives in Osawatomie and drives an hour and a half to come down to practices when she can make it. She's not able to be there all the time. But she tries to get to one practice a week at least. We do have pole vault for those of you who have middle school or high school kids. That doesn't really come into play until the summer. Lainey Lawson at Southeast is our coach. She's done this just about as long as we had the club for us. And she does a great job with kids. Our kids love her. My daughter's a girl that vaults and a little bit, and she loves her time with Lainey. Leah Smith is our javelin or turbo jav is for the littler kids coach. She's a former Girard track athlete as well and a Pitt State All-American javelin thrower. We do have on the watching us here, Abby O'Neilio is going to be our distance coach this year. This is going to be her first year. I'm excited to have her. She's a former Girard track athlete that I coached against, so she irritated me back then. But she's a great person too. She did run cross country and distance stuff at Pitt State, and then was for sure the high school cross country coach for a number of years at Arc City, correct? And then did you do some track coaching too? You want to chime in?
I did middle school cross country and high school track.
Oh, that's okay. Okay. I got it backwards. All right, but we're really excited to have her. She's kind of in the same position where she has high school kids that are going to be competing in track, and it's going to be hit and miss with her, but we've got some people to help cover on that kind of stuff a little bit. Nick Cheney does some hurdling coaching for us during the summer after the high school season's over. He has coached some very good hurdlers at Southeast in his day. He was a really nice runner at Baxter when he was a kid. I coached against him too when he was in school. Aaron's not going to be able to help us this year. And then Brian Norton is a guy that helps coach whatever we ask him to do. He's learned over time his how to do a lot of the events and understand the events. His daughter started with our program. Both daughters started with our program when we started this, and they knew nothing about track. Brian, they didn't even have track at the school, if I remember right, that Brian went to school to, had no idea how track was set up or anything. But he has invested a lot of time and does a good job. Katrina Burke will help us coach this year. She coached the distance kids for us last year because we didn't have someone, and she was willing to do that. She'll probably be helping Abby or me in other positions wherever we need her at. She's super help too. Matthew Fleck is a former Warrior. He's actually competing at Bethel College right now. So he's not available to coach, but he likes helping with the distance kids. And he'll fill in wherever he's asked to. He's just a super good kid and really loyal to the club. And then finally, Maria Clevenger, that's my wife. And she's the one that takes care of all the money and stuff at the start of practices and takes care of me, yes, too.
It's important to note that our coaches all volunteer.
Oh, all of our coaches are volunteers. None of our coaches are paid. Some clubs have coaches that they pay. All of ours are volunteer. If they go to meets, we try to help out as a cost covering them and stuff, but we don't actually pay them. Okay, moving on. Requirements for the club. The fee this year is going to be $75 per athlete. $22, that's the AA membership. And then the participation fee and $15 basically covers a team shirt. And then if you have a middle school or high schooler that's going to do it, we prorate that cost. That'll probably be around $60. We haven't officially decided that, but it'll probably be that this year. On the website, if you do decide to register your kids, is an information and release form, athlete information release form. So go ahead and you can get on the website, warriorstrackclub.org, to find that information. If your child, now this, I'll try to be clear here. We have kind of a youth meet schedule, which is the April meets, which includes 6th grade and under. And when we, in that youth season, they can wear t-shirts to compete in, that we have, and we hand out as our uniform shirts. But if your child's going to be a part of the AAU season, which really starts late May and goes into June, and if they're going to be competing at that level, then we do ask that you purchase a uniform. And I hate that the price is $80, but that's what it is.
That's our cost.
That's what our cost is. So we just hand that over to you guys whenever you need that. And then meet fees vary depending on the meet. Most of the meets right now are around $20 to $25 per kid per meet. Just to give you a heads up on that. And then I mentioned the youth meets, which includes our meet on April 20th. I'll talk about that in just a minute. Just wearing the team t-shirt is just fine. Some frequently asked questions. When's the regular season start? We're going to start, or when does it take place? We're going to start Monday of next week, 25th at 6 o'clock at Girard at the school. And depending on your level of commitment, a lot of younger people, younger families, they will often be busy with us in April and kind of get into May, and maybe softball and baseball starts picking up, and they may fall off, and then we start having more middle school and high school kids. So again, it kind of depends. But if your child does want to compete at the AAU level during the summer and were to qualify, there's a qualifying process to Junior Olympics that goes into early August. What is a commitment requirement for the team? So this is, we talked about basically your commitment. The commitment's up to you. And as much as you want to practice, and
Literally the
stuff.
only requirement is the paperwork and payment.
Yeah.
Everything else is up to them.
So if you didn't hear, my wife was just saying, literally the only thing that's required is the paperwork and payment to be a part of the club, and then it's up to you. Does your child need spikes? Not necessarily. At the beginning of the season, for sure, I wouldn't do that, especially if they're young. When they get into it, if you decide you want to have some spikes for them to wear other than their running shoes, I do have some that I can sell if I have the right sizes. All right, so we are a 501c3 nonprofit. Just means you could donate to us, or somebody can donate to us, and it's tax deductible. We used to rely on that. We don't rely on donations as much anymore because of our youth meet that we put on. That became our big moneymaker.
Because I hate fundraising and refuse to do it. That's why. We do the meet so we don't have to fundraise, because nobody needs to buy one more thing.
One day of misery instead of a whole bunch of days of trying to sell stuff. But we will host a youth meet on April 20th. That's for the pre-K to 6th graders. Athletes don't actually have to be a member of the club to participate, in case you know others. We will give club members a discounted registration cost on that. So if you know of
$5 or something. 10.
Yeah, it was 10, I think. If you know anyone that would like to help run off events, you can let me know that along the way. I really try to keep from having parents who have kids competing helping. That doesn't always happen, but anyway. Practice expectations, parents, if you have kindergartners or even first graders, a lot of times or younger, we want you to stay around. Just in case we have issues. We've only had a couple of issues in the past where I had to ask one child to leave, or two, actually, there were two different situations, but that's it. Yeah.
Parents, hi, Maria. Parents with young kids, you can bring your strollers and walk the track. If you have older kids, you want to drop them off and go get groceries or whatever, you're welcome to do that. You don't have to stay. If you stay, that's great because practices don't end at a hard time. Like it's not 7:30 every night we're done. But feel free to bring your strollers or whatever and walk the track, or just walk the track because we have lots of people who do that.
Practices are about an hour and 15 to an hour and 30 minutes long usually. And I will end up staying longer with kids inevitably. Kids that want to work, practice things, or if I haven't had a chance, if I've worked with throwers for a while, I'll come back with high jumpers. My main kind of area that I focus on is high jumping. So anyway, we have to kind of work and it just depends, but all right. Oh, on the band app, make sure your notifications are on. I'm guessing most of yours are on or you wouldn't know about this meeting. But that's our main form of communication once we get going. Oops, I did want to mention that. Oh, never mind. Yeah, with the weather and we could end up with some changes. I'll talk about that in a minute. Some different ways of communication. We don't use Facebook and Twitter a bunch, but we do use them to make some announcements here and there. Morgan takes care of Instagram and does a lot of stuff on there with the kids. Does a really good job. We do have our website, have the band app, and then we have email if you need that too. The event calendar can be found on warriorstrackclub.org. There's a practice schedule. There's also a meet schedule posted underneath the event calendar that's on there. I haven't updated that in a while with the meets, but that's where you can find all that stuff out. I tried to get it onto the band calendar too, but you can find that stuff there. And know in advance too that practices can change, not only because of weather, but we have parents or coaches who are parents that have kids competing. And a lot of us coach middle school and high school and things change there. We would like to be able to practice more than we do, but that's just not feasible sometimes.
Also, like Leah does this a lot. If she needs to have javelin practice, but she can't come to track practice, she will set us, and Lainey does this too. They'll set a specific time. Okay, we're going to practice javelin at 5 o'clock before track practice. So kids can come early and work if a specific coach isn't going to be there. If she's not going to be there at all and your kid only does javelin and we know about it, we'll let you know through band, hey, Leah's not going to be here tonight, so there will be no javelin practice. So you know, and you're not driving over for no reason.
Okay. Meet entry form, that'll take place. You'll go to our website. In the main menu will be a spot to sign up for that. Whenever we have meets, we'll give you more information about that later. And we do have PayPal that hopefully if the button's working, you can pay there, or you can use cash or check directly to Maria or Venmo now, which Venmo's been great. You can also find on our website, the club, under the club info, what events certain ages can actually compete in. There's some events that the younger kids can't do until they're a little bit older, things like that. And it also tells the distances that they're able to run, and hurdles. If you have an 11-year-old, they're going to run an 80-meter hurdle instead of a 100-meter hurdle.
Age is based on the age they turn in this calendar year. So one of our daughters has already had her birthday. She's 12, so she will compete at the 12-year-old age level. Our other daughter, her birthday's in December. She is 15, but she will compete as a 16-year-old because she turns 16 in this calendar year. So that's when you're looking at the ages, make sure you're looking at the age they turned this calendar year.
Good point. All right. If you know of anyone who wants their child to be a part of the club, wasn't able to make the meeting, they can join at any time along the way. We're going to try to post this onto the website, this video, so that others can watch it. Anything else with that before we take questions? Okay, let me get out of this before we take some questions. All right. Does anybody have any questions? we've got a few more minutes before we run out of time on the Zoom, but does anybody have any questions you're willing to ask in front of everybody?
How do you determine what the kids are going to run or compete in?
Can I do this one?
Go ahead.
Okay, so we will encourage kids to do specific events, but ultimately they get to choose. If they find out they really like distance running, but they don't want to do it at a meet, okay, they may be really good at it, but they might not want to do it. Our son tried running and hated it and became a thrower. That's just what he did. We've had kids that came and wanted, like we have this, he was a little bitty guy, wanted to do high jump. He did high jump, ended up being phenomenal. And Nate said, had he not done track, I would have never known that he would have been a high jumper. But it's only because he wanted to do it, because Nate would have never assigned him to that event just because of his size. So kids can do whatever they want. They can try every event and see what they like. And they can do that the whole season. They can switch halfway through the season if they want to, if they decide they want to try something new.
Most of us have been around track long enough that we can kind of watch kids, and sometimes if we think they look like they might be able to do something, we'll encourage that or at least suggest it. But it's really, this is an opportunity for the kids to do what they want to do and find out what they like. They're, especially when they're younger. What we would encourage, and we've had some younger kids occasionally go with the distance group to start with, and it ends up being a bad thing for them. We've had a couple girls early on who never came back after they did that because the length was just a little bit, it was too much for them, and but they didn't know otherwise. So when we start off practice, we'll say, hey, if you want to run this length, if you're gonna run an 800 or more, you're gonna go with Coach O'Neilio. If you're gonna run 400 down stuff, you think that's what you want to do, or if you don't know, then stay with me and Coach Samuels and or whoever is doing it. So, and then field events, it's just a try thing. So
Which, by the way, Turbo Jav is a plastic javelin that weighs either 300 grams or 400 grams and has a rubber tip. And that's what they will throw if they are 12 or younger.
Oh, we're good.
We
got
don't
10
want kids
minutes left.
poking each other with the javelin. Javelin practice usually happens across the street.
The real javelin.
Yeah, the real javelin.
Okay, good question. Anybody else? We still got 9.5 minutes before we run out of time.
Can they do just throwing events and not running events?
Yep, they sure can. That's well, yeah, our daughter's shaking her head. She looks like a runner, but she doesn't like running, so she throws. She's getting more to the point where she's liking running. But anyway, the point is, yes, the problem is we don't have the bodies like we had when Coach Burnett was around. So sometimes that's a little more difficult to do. But yes, the Coach Smith, our javelin coach, tries to be at practice every Monday for sure. That's the day that she can practice. So Turbo Jav's available most Monday practices for sure. And then the others will just kind of be on whatever our schedule looks like and who's there. And sometimes we decide then. But yes, there isn't an expectation for a kid to have to run by any means. Now, jumpers, we have the jump. If a kid just want to be a jumper, they still have to run because each of the jumping events requires running. And so we have them run with us. But kids that are simply want to be throwers, no. Till middle school. And if they're with me, then that changes, but that's a different story. Right, Reese?
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else? Okay. Well, looks like most of you, I recognize your names from band. So if you're in band, you have questions, feel free to message us, me, Maria, whoever, and we can get you taken care of that way. So is there anything else? Then we'll shut this down,
I
but,
have a question there.
oh,
They're
what?
unmuted. I
okay,
just
go
wanna
ahead,
make sure.
guys. Yep.
Anybody have a?
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
The
So
same-
I have the band app and you've sent me the code, but my husband's wanted to get on there too. So does he just need to send you a message or how do we get the code to sign up for the band?
You can do that, go to our website, click on the link there, have him do that. And I think you can add in that way. That would be the best way. If, I'm trying to think of, there's.
It's
another
on the
way.
front page of the website. Is that what you just said?
Yeah.
I was reading a message.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That'd be the best way. And then if you have problems, send me a message and send me his number and I can send him a direct message via text with the link to invite him.
He shouldn't need a code doing it from the website, though.
We'll try and get it on there.
Yeah, but feel free to message me if that doesn't work for him.
Practices start next Monday and we would have to fill out the form and stuff before then, correct?
We like you to, yeah. It's not a have to, but since you know about it, if you would, that'd be great.
And you can pay at practice or beforehand or whatever.
Okay.
Okay. All right, thank you. We will hopefully see you guys in a week or so. You have anything else?
Mm-mm.
All right,
Just be sure, if you have questions, please let us know because we've probably heard it before and have an answer. So we've been doing this since 2016. So we think we've got it all figured out, but maybe not. Heck, you may ask a question that we've never heard and we can figure it out with you.
Oh, one more question.
yeah, go ahead.
Are the practices at the Girard High School track?
Yes,
Okay.
yep. We are, that's part of the, we're under their,
We're at their mercy. because of
Mercy,
their
yeah.
track schedule.
so we have, that's why early on in the season, we've got a couple of middle school meets and they've got a high school meet and stuff. So makes it a little challenging practice schedules or schedule practices. But anyway, we're fortunate. They let us do whatever we want with the place and have at it. Gerard's been super supportive of track ever. I mean, even before I was at Girard in 2004, it's a really nice track community. So, yep. What are you doing?
There's like a question,
Huh?
comment thing right there.
Oh. There is. All right.
Oh.
All right. Well, thank you. We will see you all later.